Today's devotion is titled Production Part 1, Have a Mind to Work. And we are on day 246, and we're on the calendar date of September 3rd. And we're continually walking through the book of Nehemiah. So today's morning rinse is Nehemiah 3 through 5. And I'm going to continually give you some steps on how to build and to look at Nehemiah from a business standpoint, from a high level point of view. So again, morning rinse is Nehemiah 3 through 5, and the featured verse is Nehemiah 4:6. So we built the wall, and the whole wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. If I were smarter, I could ... If I had more money, I would ... If only I had a specific skill set, I might ... Let's be honest. We are probably all guilty. I can speak for myself. I'm guilty of having the beginnings of this sentence and then filling in whatever I think I am lacking or what I need but I don't have. I think that we are probably all guilty of making excuses like what I actually just talked about. Excuses are really a crutch that we lean on to place blame on something or someone. We place blame on our circumstances. We place blame on other people who might have contributed to, a setback in our life. We place blame on, a certain scenario or, whatever that may be. They do not help us further our call. Excuses do not help us further our call or the purpose that we have in our lives. So I'm telling you to stop it right now. Just stop it. Instead, begin taking responsibility for where we're at and stop making excuses. Use what we have. That's so biblical in the concept of, people used what they had. And if they didn't have something and God put them into a position of finding favor, then they received that favor, right? But people who get far in life, they don't make excuses. They take responsibility and use what they have in that moment. And while the rebuilding of the wall of Jerusalem was for protecting the city in moments of war, it was a project with a business plan. And we can all learn from that plan and all learn to, use these scenarios and use the things that Nehemiah did to help us further God's kingdom. So here are what I call the production steps in Nehemiah's business plan. And now there are 9 of them, and so it's a long journey. And like I said yesterday, I unloaded a whole lot of things for you to consider doing when you are building. And this is something that takes a year, or longer, or, just moments in time, and if it's a small ministry, you can certainly start small. It doesn't have to take a year. But the first thing is make a list of 52 tasks needing completed. And this is all in chapter 3. And so where this is derived from is in chapter 3, I counted how many portions of the wall that they rebuilt. And he put people in place of certain sections of the walls. And there were 52 sections that were being rebuilt. And if you look at it from God's number, there are 52 weeks in the Bible. And if we would just write down 52 things that we think we need, and there might not necessarily be that many, but I use that term just in reference to chapter 3. And when I am building something or wanting to grow in my business, I usually think about the number 52 because nothing happens overnight. It takes a long time. And so, sometimes if I write my list, I only get to 20 because the thing that I'm doing is a lot smaller than a whole year's worth of planning or 52 items. But go ahead and make your list, shoot for 52 things. And if it's not 52 things, then that's okay. And then every single day, pray against anything in your way. That's step 2. So step one is you write down this list and be sure and be in conversation with God about these lists. But then every single day when you're looking at these lists, pray against anything that is in your way that would cause your list to not be fulfilled. And that's chapter 4, verse 4 through 5 is when Nehemiah was praying. And then 3, set your mind to work and divide up your list. So when we set our mind to work, we have that mind to get it done. We have that mind to be intentionally productive. And start dividing up your list, maybe prioritizing it. These are the things that I need to get done first. These are the next thing, and start dividing up your list. Always work from this list. And when you divide up the list and start to set your mind to work, you can look at that in chapter 4, verse 6, where the people were divided up in certain sections. And we can do that as well within our own list. And then celebrate your accomplishments along the way. Even if you are only half done, it all still has a purpose. And so set goals for your life. So say you've got your list and you've divided up, then set a goal for your life. Like, oh my goodness, if I could get these 3 things down and finished, then I'm going to celebrate that and celebrate those accomplishments along the way. Keep praying is another step. Just keep praying. Then adjust your plan when obstacles or people come against you. There will be obstacles, just like in the story of Nehemiah. There were obstacles, there were people that were coming against him. And, people were trying to get him to stop building the walls. And these people were coming in and trying to be, trying to get the people even against Nehemiah. But they were praying and they were adjusting their plan so that when the obstacles came, they were a little flexible in that. And that's in chapter 4, 9, and 21. Then the next step is organize your networking list that you made yesterday and know who your support system is. And we're looking at chapter 4, verse 13 and chapter 5, verse 16. Know who your support system is. And then the next step is tell yourself to not be afraid. So many times we get stuck in moving forward in our plan for our life, moving forward in the things that we are needing to do or the things that we are called to do. Because of fear, we get stuck. And we get stuck because maybe there's somebody that, we're afraid of what they'll think. Maybe we're afraid that we won't finish it or accomplish it, or maybe there's some other reason why we are afraid, or maybe we just don't think that we are qualified. But tell yourself, do not be afraid. And sometimes we have to actually talk to ourselves. In Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14, we sometimes have to tell ourselves or tell other people, do not be afraid. Even in the midst of obstacles and even in the things that we are, up against, do not be afraid. The next step is to take needed breaks, but do not live lazy. And that's chapter 4, verse 22. Now, when I say take needed breaks, I mean, sometimes people can, work all day long without a break and go work a second day without a break or whatever. But my encouragement to you is to take needed breaks. If your body needs a 30-minute reset, go take a 30-minute reset. I love working out in the morning, and that's kind of my early break in, instead of starting my day off and running to get things done, I start my morning with working out 4 to 5 times a week. But then also, too, I intentionally take a day off in my work, and I try to. And now if there's an emergency situation or a house pops up on the market really quick and a client is really, really wanting to see this home, then, I'll squeeze in a couple hours to do that. But I try and take one day off a week so that I can refresh and do some of my hobbies and serving the community, those kinds of things. But when we take breaks, we have to also be really intentional to not get into a lazy mindset. We can't be owning that sin of slothfulness. And I believe it is a sin. We're supposed to be productive with our time and be productive with our call. And when we get lazy, we just don't do anything. So take those needed breaks, but don't live lazily. And then next step is set your mind to never take advantage of people when you are working towards your goal, and guard against others who do. And so if you know someone that typically will take advantage of other people, then maybe it's time to break those ties or don't do business with those people. Guard against others who take advantage of people. Don't do things, with them, because it could be that they take advantage of you, or it could be, they take advantage of others that are affected by you or that are helping you. Just set your mind to never take advantage of people, and make fair trades or pay people. That's in chapter 5 verse 12. We learn how that there were fair trades that were going on, and it is okay to pay full price for somebody's services. I have sometimes a little guilt complex for charging for some of my services, whether that's in the acting world or whether that's being a real estate agent. And sometimes this, if you call it the enemy or my conscience, or not really my conscience, but sometimes I feel like, there's something in me that's like, you don't deserve full pay, or there's this yipping in your ear, and it's the enemy speaking lies over ourselves. So I'm saying that to say that it is okay to pay somebody full price for what they're charging. A lot of times people will come to me if they're wanting to hire me for set or whatever, and I tell them my rate, and they're fine with paying my full rate. And same thing with buying a house. Some people just want to have a mindset that they're going to negotiate and try and get the best deal on a home, and then other people are coming in and saying, you know what, that is a fair price, and I'm going to pay full price for that home. And then the people who want to just pride themselves on negotiating and getting the best deal they possibly can, sometimes I've seen it happen where they miss out on a great opportunity to get the house that they really want. So it's a perspective of that. Just make sure that you don't take advantage of people, and guard against others who do, making fair trades and pay people. And then the last one is trust God for your provisions, as Nehemiah did. He was a governor, but he did not take a salary due to the high demand of the task on the people. And so there are situations where, if say I am hired for doing a specific job, whether that's, acting, or whether, I'm needing to help somebody buy a house, and we run into a little bit of a glitch in the budget, then, pray about it. And if God wants you in that moment to, take a pay cut or whatever because of that circumstance, then you may very well be the answer to that. But always be in prayer about those situations. He did not take a salary because of the people, and the demand of the people, and the tasks that the people were doing, the tasks that the people were doing. But was his needs met? Absolutely. And God provided for him in other ways. And, you can read that in chapter 5, verse 14 and 18. So in chapter 3 of today's Morning Rinse, like I said, I counted around 52 sections of the wall that was being repaired. And like I said, that number is 52 weeks in a year, and it makes it easy to divide up our tasks. We can prioritize it and then do one task per week. And there are 52 weeks in a year, and isn't that so cool how God helps us with our business plan, even in stories like this? If we dig deep, the people divided and conquered as well. And so he delegated out, and the people divided up and conquered. And yes, some were not even qualified for the work that they were doing. They learned along the way. And in fact, Nehemiah had a jewelry maker and a perfumer, each in charge of a section. You can see that in chapter 3, verse 8. They weren't builders, they were jewelry makers and a perfumer, and yet they were in charge of a certain section so that they could get that section done. Did it take 52 weeks for Nehemiah to build the wall? No, it didn't, because they had it all delegated out and divided up. And so you may have a list of 52 things, and you may have people that are helping you get it done, and you can delegate those things to that person and they'll be done in quicker. So no more excuses today. Begin your production. That's my challenge to you. To dig deeper, make that list of 52 tasks for your business, for your call, for your purpose. Maybe you've started a new job and you've got 52 things that you want to do, or 52 things that you need to learn, and you might not even know all the 52 things yet, but make a list. Just start making a list, and over the next week, that list is going to grow. You might be sitting there going, okay, I don't even think I know 52 things that I need to do. And I've had lists for multiple things. So like, I have an acting list, and I have a real estate list, and I have a ministry list, and I had my book launching list. And so every area of your life, you might have a different list for that thing. You know, your job, what are 52 things that you can do to progress forward? And so keep in mind these lists, and you might just be able to knock a few out every day. I don't know, but this will take a while for you to develop this list, and have a notebook where you've got these lists going, and spend some time working on it, because it's going to help you be more productive when you have a list to work from. And one of the things that I love is, so many people will say, Anita, how do you do all the things that you do? You are so busy. And I reply back and I say, no, I am not busy. I don't even like the word busy, because in my mind, busy is a negative connotation, and it can give the perception that you don't have time for someone or something. And I never want to give anybody that impression that I am too busy for them, or too busy for something that they ask, or too busy for ministry, or too busy. So as I'm even saying this, the word busy just seems so negative. It's like a negative connotation. So when people say, Anita, you're so busy, you're always doing something or whatever, and I say, no, I am not busy. I don't like that word. Instead, I'm intentionally productive. And that is the word that I like to use, is intentionally productive, because I want to be productive with everything that I do. And granted, are there times that I just need a mental break? Absolutely. There are times. That's why you take those needed breaks. You take a day off. You go serve. You do the things I love, and sometimes, honestly, when I'm on set and doing, a commercial here or there, that to me is that mental break. It's almost like I need it to separate myself from my real estate business and just go have fun, kind of a thing. I'm on set. And so I have fun with my business and real estate, but it's a different type of fun. It's like a more ingrained, intense fun, I guess is what you will. But when I'm on set, it's like I can be kind of free and relaxed and walk in my giftings and do that. I've also done video announcements for churches in the past, and so that's always a fun thing. But I don't like the word busy. I like to be intentionally productive. And so I want you to be that way too. Don't feel like this is busy work. Feel like this is your part one for your production plan to begin developing the things that you are wanting to do and what is in your heart. And take some time to do this, and don't expect to be done today. Just start your list and start, whether it's 1, 2, 4 lists, I don't care, but just start it. And then tonight, when you pull out your journal and you have that evening reflection, I want you to write down what you did today in your production steps. Did you get one of your lists done? Did you get all of your lists done? Did you just focus on one list and get that completed, or did you even start it? Did you have a notebook where you're starting to put your lists in? That's what I do. I have a notebook where I have, a piece of paper for each one of my lives, and I have those 52 things listed, and then I refresh it once in a while. So, maybe you need a notebook that you can carry around with you and just update it along the way. But what did you do today for your production steps? And I hope today inspired you, and I hope that you're looking at Nehemiah in a different set of lenses, a different set of eyeglasses, and I can't wait for you to be back tomorrow to continue growing in this journey of one of my favorite books of the Bible, Nehemiah. And you know where to get my devotional. It's in the show notes. And so, and also too, I'd love to hear your perspective of this. And until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.